Some days you're gonna feel like you just can't endure any more crap. But I want you to remember on those days that your track record for dealing with the crap is 100%, and that is pretty awesome, my friend. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me here today. If you're new, I'm Amanda. Welcome to the channel where we are all about shattering the mental health stigma. If you haven't already, please make sure you make sweet, sweet love to that subscribe button. Give the bell a few kisses so you're not missing any of this content designed to help you with your mental health or help you help someone else. I want to give a quick heads up before I start this reaction that if my face looks puffy or it just looks a little weird, I just had dental surgery. I promise there's nothing nefarious going on, just dental surgery. Hopefully that won't affect my beautiful face and my reactions, but I just wanted to give you a heads up so you didn't worry. But today I'm going to be reacting to Megadeth, Sweating Bullets. This is my first time hearing this song, going old school back to Megadeth, thanks to the suggestion of Edward, my amazing Patreon. If you haven't had a chance to check out my Patreon, please make sure to do so. Link is in the description. You get intimate little Zoom calls with me every month. You get priority song requests, behind the scenes stuff, so much more. And every single dime goes toward my mental health outreach. Thank you, Edward, so much for your love and support. It means the world to me. Today, like I said, it's my first time hearing Sweating Bullets by Megadeth. So let's go.
Hello, me. Meet the real me. And my misfits way of life. A dark black past is my most valued possession. Hindsight is always 2020. But looking back, it's still a bit fuzzy. Speak of mutually assured destruction. Nice story. Taxpayers digest. Feeling paranoid. Turning me of fostering. Anxiety's attacking me. My hair is getting thin. I'm in trouble for the things I haven't got to yet. I'm jumping at the bit and my palms are getting wet. Hello.
I just want to say that his delivery of this is phenomenal. I really love the energy in this. Like he's holding something back and it's just dying to get out. And his delivery of the insanity here visually is really pretty amazing. I really like that. I think this must be where Ren got his inspiration for High Ren. It's like meeting your shadow for the first time. In this case, for the first time. I don't think it was really for the first time with Ren, but I just want to remind you guys that it's perspective alone that determines which you is you and which one is the real you. That's perspective. And I don't say that to diminish it. I say that because when you realize it's perspective, we can shift it. But when depression gets heavy enough, it does seem like your shadow is who you are. Like that's your entire identity. And he was talking about the dark black past being the most valued possession. That's because that becomes your identifying characteristic. Like you say, I am depressed. I am crazy. You affirm these things and they become part of your identity. But the comment about hindsight being 2020, but things still being fuzzy reminds me, I think, or reminds us that the path of our circumstances might not always be as clear as people assume. So people might say, okay, well, you did ABC and that led to XYZ, right? But we might not have seen the future. We might not have been able to foresee XYZ when we engaged in ABC. So it's not really as clear cut as people assume. And on top of that, again, our perception when we're in that place can distort which thoughts are meant to harm us because they can pretend to help us and which thoughts are actually there to help. But it was like in my addiction, my shadow telling me, well, another line's going to bring you comfort. Another line's going to help you get through this. That was a false friend. And I just didn't realize at the time because of the distortion. But I think that the anxiety that's being expressed here is coming from how to handle the situation, how to go on, and how to cope. What on earth?
Oh, me, it's me again. You can subdue but never tame me. It gives me a migraine headache. sinking down to your level. Yeah, just keep on thinking it's my fault and stay an inch or two out of kicking distance. Mankind has got to know his limitations. And claustrophobic like walls closing in. Bloodstains on my hands and I don't know where I've been. I'm in trouble for things I haven't got to yet. I'm softening the ass and my palms are getting wet.
Before it continues, oh my gosh, I love how it's going through the layers, and it's not even necessarily that it goes from best to worst or that it's getting worse as we go on. It's just showing the different depictions of his spiral, the different depictions of his illness, of his struggle there. So I like that. I like how it has these different layers. The part that really broke my heart was when he's kicking himself, because that's what we do when we're in that darkness. We beat ourselves up. We're not kind to ourselves. We have no grace for ourselves, for our mistakes, for the opinions of other people, things like that. We just have absolutely no patience for ourselves. So we will tear ourselves apart and project all of these things, or not project, but like accept all of these things that other people are saying. By the way, I noticed that the first reflection of the mirror was distorted, and that's why I kind of got creeped out, because mirror distortions like that freak me out. But then the second one wasn't, so that's very interesting. But oh, how I remember getting so upset and so riled up when I would dysregulate, or when I'd have a depressive episode, that I'd get these throbbing headaches. And honestly, I don't miss that at all. I do not miss that. But I still get claustrophobic, like he was talking about, in my own skin. And it's like this invisible boa constrictor is just wrapping around me, and I'm being asphyxiated, and I don't know how to get away from my own thoughts, how to escape myself. But he had said something about subduing but not taming. And to me, that when in this context of that conversation with yourself and your darkness and your other personas, so to speak, I think that that's indicative that you can't get rid of your shadow. You can't get rid of your darkness. You can't disconnect from that part of yourself, but you can quiet it, and you can learn to work with it instead of against it. So I think that there's a lot to be learned there. I think when he's talking about bloodstains on the hands and being in trouble for things that he hasn't done yet, indicates that he feels like he has no control from continuing down the same path, from perpetuating the same behaviors and keeping that same cycle going. But remember, feelings are not absolute truth. We might think they are, but they're not absolute truth. And before I forget, in the beginning, I also thought was very interesting, I forgot to mention this, that the background version of himself is parroting whichever one is talking. So it's not that he's parroting one or the other. He's repeating, or he's mimicking both of them as they're speaking, which I think is very true, that we we internalize the voices that we hear, the things that we hear. So if we're around people that constantly make us feel like crap, then we're eventually going to internalize these voices of, I feel like crap now. So it's going to be repeating what you are hearing, regardless of who's speaking. So it's very important that you are surrounding yourself with positive messages. And even if there are negative people you can't get away from, that you're balancing that with positivity and with affirming messages about yourself because you are amazing.
Tell me it's nice talking to myself. A credit to dementia. Someday you too will know my pain and smile its black tooth grin. If the war inside my head won't take a day off, I'll be dead. My icy fingers claw your back. Here I come again. Feeling paranoid to enemy a false friend. Anxiety's attacking me. My hair is getting thin. Once you've committed me, you acquitted me. Claiming validity for your stupidity. Trapping in the pit. Once you're turning the X. Oh, here I come again.
Love it. Also, I feel like for this time period, I'm guessing that this is a bit older, just judging by the hair alone. I feel like this is from a previous era of music, and the graphics are actually really impressive for the limitations that they had at the time. He'd mentioned dementia, and contrary to popular belief, dementia isn't actually a disorder itself, but it's a general umbrella term for loss of cognitive processing. So things like the ability to problem solve, the ability to think clearly, things like that. That's dementia. So dementia isn't a disorder in itself. That's a common misconception. But I actually really liked it when he was saying that someday you too will know my pain because we all experience depression and grief and loss and anxiety, etc. But it's how we navigate these things that dictates whether it persists, how intensely it persists, how we the relationship we have with it. So there's a lot that goes into that, but you do need a break from the barrage of thoughts and worries in your head. Believe me, if I hadn't found a way to just take small breaks, even small breaks, I always have a million tabs open, but I have to be able to take small breaks, be it through meditation or be it through mindfulness activity, even if it's just watching a show and getting away from myself, getting away from my thoughts. It's really important that we're taking breaks. I personally like to schedule time, like worry time. That way I can say, okay, brain, okay, shadow, you can have this time to just do what you're gonna do and put all the worries out on the table, and you don't even have to solve it. Just kind of let your brain word vomit and get through that. But it'll drive anyone insane if you're doing that all day long. So giving it permission has kind of balanced it for me. But sometimes the healthy escape might not be obvious because we're not taught how to manage our mental health or our emotions. That's why I started my happiness boost courses, because we didn't get happiness 101 in high school or college or anywhere else in life. That's just something that's not taught, like other functional things like filing our taxes and things. We just weren't taught that. So I took it upon myself to be everyone's happiness teacher, everyone's mental health teacher, so to speak, and give somebody the power to make those changes. And these are the things that I did to go from being on the ledge ready to end things to really flourishing and living this life that makes me happy and brings me joy, and I can actually connect to that joy. And I actually just lowered the price for everyone because I really want it to be attainable for everyone. So now the happiness boost is forever $99 for a lifetime, and that has so many videos. There's dozens of videos. There's hundreds of deep dive questions that will help you get to the root and start building upon your own toolbox and knowing what to cut out and how and what to implement and how. And it has cheat sheets and all sorts of goodies. So make sure sure to check that out. I'll link that below because, as I said, we're just not taught happiness. And I had a lot of people that were saying they wanted to be involved in that, but they couldn't because they couldn't afford it. And I get that. I get financial limitations. I still get financial limitations. And I just wanted to make sure that it's available for everyone because the feedback that I've gotten has been amazing, that it has changed lives and it's helped people break free of that darkness, or at least move up on their own personal happiness spectrum. But the ending of this song, I do want to touch on the ending. The ending, I think, is calling out those people that labeled you as untouchable or broken or unlovable or just whoosh their hands of you completely. Now, I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, so one of the most challenging things for me to deal with is abandonment. So I completely understand how difficult that can be, but we can't accept the opinions of other people as absolute truth and spiral because of them. Just because a person or 20 people didn't find us worthy, that doesn't mean we're not worthy. That even if 1% of the 7 billion people on this planet accepted us, that's still thousands of people that accept us and that would love us. So even if you've been surrounded by people that don't validate you, that don't make you see your worth and see how lovable you are, doesn't mean that they don't exist. It just means that you haven't met them yet. But there are many of us here in the community that will love you, that see you, that hear you, and that want to share in your wins and your struggles as we move through this mental health journey together. So make sure that you are sharing your stories here in the comments, good, bad, and crazy. That's how we shatter the mental health stigmas, by talking about it. And we are here for you. This is a safe place for you to communicate, to let it out, to get that support. Thank you guys so much for all that support, for all of your love. Thank you, Edward, for suggesting this song. And I love you guys so much. I'll see you soon. Mwah.